Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Institute of Engineers Tech Forum, Pune Center, I welcome you all for today's Tech Talk. It will be delivered by Mr. Satyajeet Mittal. Okay, the subject title itself is quite descriptive, and he is going to present today his venture. I hope everybody can hear me properly.
Yes, sir. Please
Yeah,
continue.
yeah, thank you. So I came to know about his product when I bought his product for my grandsons. Actually, my niece, twin sons and one daughter. Okay, and I really enjoyed. They also enjoyed, and I have also shared their videos to the company, your company, Satyajit. So rest is left with Satyajit, and I request Satyajit to start his presentation on his very innovative product. Sir, Satyajit, you may start me.
Yeah, just one moment. Excuse me. Yeah. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yep. So, hi guys. I'll just keep it brief. It's the last day of the year,
Okay.
and I will make it enjoyable as much as I can. Uh, for a 10 a.m. conversation. My name is Satyajeet Mittal. You all can call me Jit, like most people do. Um, just to give you a background, went to born in Meerut. Never lived there. Lived in Delhi, lived in Calcutta, lived in Bombay for a small period, and largely Delhi, and then shifted to Pune about 15, 16 years ago. Did my schooling at DPS Pune, went to BMCC for my 11th and 12th, and then finally MIT Institute of Design for the large part where I did hardcore product design for 5 years. Did that journey, went on to work at Whirlpool in their global design center for 6 months as a trainee. Uh, got placed from college in a company called Globant, which was Claris Technologies acquired by a Argentinian giant called Globant, and went on to do that as my first job. While at being at my first job, within 16 months, I realized I had made a product back in college, and I had won the IF Product Design Award for it, but I had not materialized it anyhow, and that wasn't Aretto. So that's where my entrepreneurial journey started. Got a grant from Science and Technology Park in Pune under the Nidhi Prayas scheme, and made my first product called Squat Ease. That was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. It was an Indian toilet redesigned to, to help people squat easier, and also solve large related problems in Swachh Bharat. Got awarded by the Prime Minister in 2018 as the best innovation in Swachh Bharat. Took that product live to market and eventually licensed it in 2020 Jan. Uh, while I was doing that, I was fortunate to win several awards across the world, such as the Red Dot Award, the Good Design Award, and also be on the Forbes 30 under 30 list Asia in 2019. And by 2020, when I licensed the product, I realized that I wanted to do something much bigger, which had a larger impact, as compared to what I did in the first stint. And I was fortunate enough, to get that opportunity again. When I started building Aretto, we started building this somewhere in 2019. That's when I was still at Squatties, but hired my fortunately so my first intern, which was Parth Dhomkar, by the way. And Parth joined us as a trainee when there was nothing called Aretto. And we started building this from scratch. And so happy to share he's on the call, and he's also been with us for 5 years now, and leads our design center today. So that was the journey. We had a basic insight. So this conversation I'm going to drive more from a perspective of our journey on the product and the innovation side of it, and how did we build onto insights and consumer driven insights. So the topic that I like to play with is called pole vaulting with insights, the importance of discovering and understanding insights in the journey of building truly differentiated or disruptive products. So the journey that has always been with us, whether it was Squatties or whether it was Aretto, it has always been stemming out of a core consumer insight based on which we build an idea, we go to the whole product journey, and eventually build a brand. That's how we've always looked at it. Uh, talking about this. So, like I said, my topic was pole vaulting with insights. So we truly compare it with the sport. Now, most of you might be aware of what pole vaulting is. So we always think the athlete can be personified as a brand. The insight is the pole that he or she might carry to jump over an obstacle. And once you do that, that's when the audience watching you applauds, which we actually take as consumers. So if there is a brand or a company and they have the right insight, and that insight can take them or cross them over the other side, that's when your consumers will love you and will always expect that you've truly created something differentiated. So this is an analogy we draw every time we build a project, that how high are we crossing that barrier, or how much of a difference are we creating with the insight. So now jumping right into Aretto, the big and obvious obstacle, right? We were very clear that kids' feet grow every day and shoes don't. That's the plain and simple, big and obvious obstacle that any kid or has gone through, whether at the lowest income strata or the highest income strata. So first time when we were building this, we were very clear that we wanted to build a technological moat into a large audience which has never sort of been focused or looked at. It has always been a subset market for the larger brands in the world. And the 25, roughly I think 25% of the population is under the age of 0 to 14. And we thought such a large audience has been not looked at and is been treated as a subset. So how can we go and disrupt this space? So here, firstly, it was a very tricky problem. We looked at consumer behavior. It was very imperative to understand who is the consumer, or who is the behavior for. So rightly so, the buying happens by grandfathers, grandmothers, parents, uncles and aunts of the child, but the user is the kid. So we tried to map that whole journey of, by being in their shoes, of what do they really feel. We realized that 1 in 3 kids are wearing the wrong shoe size at any given point in time. No, this was a very anecdotal statement, and for someone like me who is very technologically driven into solving problems, when this statement, and this is a stat which is given by multiple forums who are into podiatry. Uh, this is the time when I was like, why does this happen? Or can we break this down? So we actually decided to map the journey of a child and the current ecosystem of how grading in shoes happens. For example, if you can bear with me, if you look at the bottom line, the axis, it defines the time of the child in years and months. Let's say we mapped a journey from 12 months to 9 years. And then we took the standard European sizing, which is fixed at 6.6 mm between two sizes. For example, if Makran sir wears a size 8, the size 9 is roughly 6.6 mm greater in length and about roughly 1.5 2 mm in breadth per size. So this is a set standard set by SATRA, and I was like, okay, let's break that journey down. So when you look at 12, so the blue line that you see here is actually the gradual foot growth in a child, where you will see between 12 months to 4 years, it's extremely steep curve, and then post 7 8 it kind of starts plateauing, and by the time you reach age 13, it kind of fully plateaus, right? So that is how we kind of took this and started building and understanding a product of what is the product usage across, right? And then we just one moment, just one moment. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see my screen?
Actually, I can see the screen, but I can't see the next slide. Only the first. Hi, Satyajit. Hi, this is Satyajit. That is the only.
Wait, just oh my god, just give me a moment. I've driven like 5 slides. Just 1 minute. Are you able to see my screen now? I'm unable to start video again.
One moment. Now you can. Hello. Now you can.
Just one. I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sure.
Oh, okay. So
It's
so
a
yeah,
breaking.
you could see this screen or no?
Yeah, I can. Pole vault now is the screen on the screen.
Okay, now it makes sense. Okay, so this is the image that I was driving with pole vaulting. Similarly, consumer behavior inside. I'll just quickly go through 1 in 3 kids wearing the wrong shoe size, and this is what I was talking about when I said, how do we break down the consumer insight? So I'll just quickly glance time being mapped on the axis below, and on the left we have mapped standard shoe sizing. If you look at the blue line is the gradual foot growth of a child, and the orange line is the shoe buying pattern, which is always a step line chart. So whenever a mother and father go to buy kid shoes, they always tend to touch the toe, keep a finger, always tend to buy a size because that's consumer behavior, right? So the first part of the design phase or the technology starts at understanding consumer behavior. Because no matter what you create, there is going to be an added layer of consumer behavior which is going to decide the usage of the product. So understanding this fact, we realize that, you know, most kids are buying shoes which are larger in size. Then eventually over a period of time, they fit into it and then they grow out of it. Now, interestingly, between 12 months to 3 years, every 3 to 4 months, a kid is growing out 6.6 mm roughly. But the mentality or the thought process that parents have is that they relate usage to value and not price to value. Let me just explain it very, very simply. I might have the capacity to buy a shoe worth 5,000, and I might have a capacity to buy a shoe worth 1,000. In both cases, I would look at usability as a factor of generating value and not the price. And that's what happens. So we realize that even the guy who's buying 5,000 rupees for a shoe is saying that I am buying one size bigger. And so is happening with somebody who's buying a 600 rupee non-branded shoe, right? And that is how we looked at it. And we realized that due to this factor, a kid always has a loose shoe, very seldom a perfectly fitted shoe, and very often a tight shoe that they've grown out of. And this process continues over the first 10 years. Now we came to the product insight. The product insight was that kids' shoes are shrunk down versions of adult shoes. Now, because like I said, it was a subset market, all of the larger brands first started making shoes for adults and eventually came down to kids. And when they did, they just graded it down because, you know, it works as a factor of grading. So basically a UK9 and a Nike kid, basically they just compacted the shoe and made it smaller, but which made us ask another very important question. Are kids' feet shrunk down versions of adult feet? You know, and most of the times products are designed for the user. And when the user is not thought of, the needs of the users change, right? So we were like, our shoes today, you know, helping the needs of a child who's between 0 to 3 years, 3 to 6 years, 6 to 12 years. And then we got into actually getting into the science of evolution of feet anatomy. If you look at a kid's feet versus a fully grown adult feet, there are so many differences, such as in the first 6 years, the bone development is still happening. I mean, first, the feet are pudgy and rounded and padded with flesh so that bone development can be protected while the kid is in the first 3 years of their life. Then eventually 3 to 6 years, you know, they have pretty wide feet. The arch development starts somewhere around age 7, 8, 9. And eventually by 10, you start seeing arch development take full action. So the needs of the product have very different. So when we realize, okay, the problem is people have not understood kids, people have not understood their needs. Can we now create a product which understands both of these things? So that's when we started first phase building the technology. Now I've divided this presentation in two parts. One is understanding building technology and one is understanding building product, because in my opinion, both are different. Technology always is a base wherein you can define what you want to achieve, but consumers pay for product, right? And product takes a lot more than technology to be delivered to them or how it's packaged to them as a whole. So first phase of the project was building the technology. The inspiration that we had here was we wanted to make a shoe that can organically expand with a child's feet as they grow up to 3 sizes. That is something that we had defined because we understood that 3 sizes roughly caters to about 4 months each. So the product cycle has to be 12 to 18 months that it lasts, and it lasts well because that's the value identified in the user's brain, right? So we took that insight and we created this brief. And when we created this brief, we understood that what is in nature that, blooms in itself. Or so inspiration was that, oh, excuse me, how a bud kind of transforms into a flower. It is a beautiful process. So if you look closely, you will see a closed bud which sort of kind of opens out as you go, and the flaps move outwards. And it's such a beautiful organic process. We were like, can we take this inspiration and actually build a shoe based on natural foot development principles of a child, combine the two and create a product which can grow with kids as they grow up to 3 sizes organically. And that's when we started building our patent. We again looked at this chart of growth and we divided it into 5 series at the time till 9 years, wherein we realized that each of the sizing categories for 3 sizes, like series 1 was EU 28, EU 18, 19, 20. Series 2 became 21, 22, 23. But we also mapped the age, the rough ages of the child, and we understood what kind of a product will a S1 have, a series 1 have. So the sole has to be really flexible. The upper material has to be super breathable, but at the same time very snug and, giving an enclosed feeling. So we mapped out each series wise needs of the child. For example, a series 5 child is running, playing, doing very, very strenuous activities, right? And then we started ideating. So we actually took the sole of the shoe, and I would like to go back to our process. This is a very refined version that you're seeing. The first prototype of the product looked something like this, wherein we took a sock and took a foam sheet and kind of cut it up into multiple parts and stitched it together, because we were like, a sock kind of fits every feet, right? But at the same time, it has to be developed into a shoe. So we quickly, at that particular time, we had limited means. We had no revenue. We were not funded. We were bootstrapped, and all we did was we went to a cobbler and took some rubber and kind of cut it up and bought a 4-way stretch material and tried to stitch things together in office. And that's how our first prototype was truly created. And then we realized that if that's why the flower, the sole was in a flower shape. And we realized that, does this work? And it was a very quick and dirty prototype. Then we started making this every week and understanding the nuances of footwear. The second thing that really helped us was that we were not from footwear design. None of us knew footwear. None of our fathers were in footwear. None of us our backgrounds were in footwear. We were focused on solving a problem from a core level. So we started building our own lasting system as well. And based on that, we were able to build a sole that has the capability to expand up to 3 sizes when it comes with when it's attached with an upper, which is a 3D knitted fabric. We use knitting because it doesn't have a stitch and there are 2 knots basically shifting on a plane. And we understood that if we are able to do that, we can actually create a product which will auto adapt to the size and the shape and the contour of a child's feet at any given point of time, right? And by controlling shore hardnesses and thicknesses, we will be able to come to what Newton force will be required with that kid in that age group to kind of push these flaps in a way where it's not, compressing the child's feet in any way. So we did all of that journey and we were finally able to reach our first prototype, in this journey. And we started building 3D printing our soles out here. and everything was done in-house. And once we were clear of what the technology, the product is, that's when we kind of created and went to a factory and started building out the shoe. I'll just show you shows how the shoe kind of expands and grows. At the same time, it's not playing. Just give me one. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you are on the screen.
No, is my screen visible?
No, you are visible on the screen. Your screen is not shared.
Just one. Uh, is my screen visible?
Now it is visible.
I hope everybody was able to see the video.
Yeah, I could see it.
Okay, so that's how. So now, interestingly, when we made that product, we realized that we will have to develop a demo of how it actually grows. So we went into building a machine, which was again 3D printed here on our printer, which actually could show how it expands up to 3 sizes. And that became our product demonstrator at the store, at flea markets, and so on. And the whole journey actually started from building at the core level of right from building a shoe last of what we felt were the necessities for a child's feet, to designing molds for our soles, for 3D printing our soles in house, building the molds here, getting those molds tested, finally, eventually converting them to aluminium molds, which now run in a factory and produce over 500 pairs a day. Uh, and we saw that journey through, and connecting with one of the largest OEMs who builds brands like Skechers, Adidas, Puma, Asics, Karl Lager, now also produces Aretto in the same manufacturing floor, and does about 500 odd units a day. And soon we are going to about 1,000 units a day production. So that has been the journey from taking this idea to conceptualizing it to filing a patent in 2020, and actually being awarded a patent grant in year 2022 in India, where any shoe that is capable to grow up to or more than 3 sizes actually rests with us in the world, and being challenged by Nike in this whole process, and actually replying to them and saying how we are different has truly been rewarding. And like I said, once we took care of the technology bit, we were able to build the product. And now product requires a different mindset altogether. One is, so in design and there's a big theory whether form follows function or function follows form. But in my opinion, the best version is when both can balance each other and elevate each other to a different level. And that's what we try to achieve in this product. So talking about building the product, shoe defines a personality. And that's very important to understand, because when shoes are bought, they're not only bought for utility, but they're also define who you are as a person. And it's happened for years now. And we were very sure that color, material, and finish define the price point and how you can drive brand. Of course, quality is something that we count as a hygiene check in the process. Uh, so that is how we kind of started designing the product range. We understood several features like natural foot shape, having a wide toe box, having a breathable upper. So, feet are never kids' feet, which are in hyper growth. Uh, they're in movement always, and kids tend to play a lot. They tend to sweat a lot. How do you create a shoe which kind of helps you out in the whole process, and it's easy to wear? And we divided it into categories like wobbly walker, tiny racer, playground champs, 0 to 1, 2 to 6 years, 6 to 1, and started testing out our product. And the third part of the journey was building the brand of who is the audience, how do they look, what kind of clothes do they wear, what is the imagery that they perceive, what is the emotion that we want to drive out of the brand. And yeah, that has been our journey, and we were able to launch our first store in Phoenix Market City, Pune, on the lower ground floor in August, and touchwood, it's doing well. We've sold about 25,000 pairs to this date in the last 12 months. And you'll often see us at various malls or at various flea markets around you. And yeah, that's been our journey.
Hello. Hmm. Now I request audience to ask questions. So I will unmute all of them. One moment. Now every audience can unmute themselves, so they can now communicate or transact with Jeet as well as Parth Donkar. Anyway, um, Jeet, you have already covered everything.
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
This young team of Parth and Mittal. I mean, this is actually a live case study of how an observant and a mindful person and an entrepreneur has captured the real requirements and converted that into a wonderful design using the knowledge component available. Very nicely done, and I'm very happy that you guys have come up with such a successful and a good product. I'm Sanjay from Hyderabad, and I had the chance encounter with Vilas when he had come for the uh, for the um, uh, for the national conference around a few years back of ham radios, and also an engineer. I'm a management consultant and work across the globe.
Right.
So wonderful work. And I also have some trace back to Meerut, by the way. I'm from St. Mary's in Meerut way back in the 70s. And I was though not born
Wow.
there,
Love that.
born in Bangalore. So I was very happy to listen to you when you said that you're from Meerut. And you have now settled in
Yeah.
Pune. Wonderful work, boys. And I think
Yeah.
you need to continue and do a lot of good
Thank you.
work. And let me know if you have any stores in Hyderabad. And if you travel to
Soon.
Hyderabad, you're welcome to
Soon,
catch up
sir.
with me. Yeah?
Thank you so much. Means a lot. Means a lot.
हाय
Also, part
सत्यजित
of the
सर
Yeah.
मी
Yes.
मेहता मला बोलायचंय कारण ते हँडसअपचं काही येत नाही ऑप्शन रेज
नमस्कार
हँडचा
सतीश
ऑप्शन
मेहता साहेब.
तर मला बोलता येईल का एक मिनिट
हाँ बोला सर.
हा सत्यजित सर
जी.
now what I heard from your adaptable shoe idea, now I have just sent a message on chat because
Yeah.
I have found myself, it is, in my opinion, it is not only for children or kids growing, but even for adults, foot shape also is different. So I have
Right.
never found my shoe comfortable anytime actually. I have bought
Right.
all types. In fact, I have tried many shoes actually, but I don't find.
Right.
So even in adult case also, some adaptability is available. I would like to try it immediately.
100%. Sir, we are in testing. I wear a Aretto shoe for the last 8 months. And we are kind of testing it out. How does it feel? And I was a Skechers person through and through. अभी भी मैं चप्पल पहनता हूँ तो Skechers का ही पहनता हूँ. But now that we made one in size 9, I started trying it out. So when I shifted, I'll be very honest with you. When I shifted from a conventional shoe to a Aretto shoe, which was basically based on barefoot movement, like it should feel like you're not wearing shoes. The first 4 or 5 days were terrible. Okay, honestly, even if it is my product, because you don't have the the thickness like the other shoes of 20 mm or 25 mm and then tapering to the front. So in normal shoes, in sports shoes, your actually body posture is standing slightly inclined towards the front because the heel stack is higher and the front part is lower. So after 5 days, I said it's my brand. I will pull through. And I pulled through for the first month. After 3 months, when I try a normal shoe, because the shoe, and very rightly so that you mentioned, see, all shoes have a defined line. If you look at a Aretto, for example, there is no curve, there is no defined line. It's a cup sole, right? So it takes the contour of your feet on the sides rather than making a line which is flat. Okay.
Yes.
And that line defines the the form of your feet. But it's so standardized that every feet is different, right? That's why that cup sole kind of helps you take the shape. And with the right shore hardnesses, I'm in a room of engineers, so I have the liberty to use a word like shore hardness. So looking at the shore hardness, the pressure of your feet kind of fills in that cup, right? And gives you that comfort. So that is something that we are in the pipeline. And we'll surely. So Aretto is a tech company which builds kids footwear today. But at the heart of it, it's a tech company which is going to make all sorts of shoes eventually.
Sir, आणखी एक प्रॉब्लेम आहे सर. सर, आणखी एक प्रॉब्लेम आहे. इन्सुलेशन हिटिंग. उन्हाळ्याच्या दिवसामध्ये किंवा उन्हात चालताना शू खालून खूप तापतो आणि इट गेट्स हॉट. So if there is a proper insulation, then this problem, because I try to pour water to make it cool when I walk actually in summer season. Right. So is there any solution on this? That's my second last suggestion.
Sir, stop wearing PU shoes in summers and original rubber shoes because those will get hot. You switch to an EVA sole, you will not feel that problem.
So,
and also have breathing uppers. It's important to have breathing uppers, Satish.
Yeah, and breathable uppers. Like for
so is it your brand or your brand shoe or some other company?
EVA sole is readily available across.
EVA sole is your brand or other company?
No, it's a generic term, sir.
Generic term. Acha. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Hemant Pardikar. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please, sir. Hi.
Satyajeet, congratulations. It was a poetry for me to hear. Wonderful way in which you address the problem. What I wanted to ask you was,
thank you so much.
Right. You talked of 3 categories from 0 to 2 years, 2 to 6 years, and 6 to 14 years. The development of the foot is different. You said initially there is a lot of flesh around this, and then the curve develops and so on. So in all the 3 things, how you have changed the design?
So very minimalistically, that we've changed the design, I mean, we don't even explain it to our consumers at this moment, sir. Because ये 3 sizes का pill लेना ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. तो हमने वो अभी अपनी वेबसाइट पे वो ब्रेकडाउन नहीं दिखाया है कंज्यूमर को. वो हम
नहीं,
अपने एंड में करते हैं. So I'll tell you.
हाँ,
So
please go ahead.
so if you look at just give me one moment.
Yes.
If you look at the threads, if you even look at the threads, you know,
Hmm.
in each, as you are doing going category by category, the threads are also different. Okay, in the product. Okay. Secondly, the shore hardness is different for a 0 to 1 journey, different for a 2 to 6 journey, and different from a 6 to 12 journey.
What is the criteria to decide that?
So we realized that when we did some analysis of what is the weight and height of those kids and what is the movement from a sole POV.
Yeah.
And we took that in ANSYS and we did some simulations to understand what kind of Newton force is applied when a kid is walking, okay, by their feet. And what would be the movement in ANSYS to understand what are the pressure points which is going in a way that does not go into the reds. Like if I go into the ANSYS video, we figured out कि कितना Newton force apply होता है और कितनी ज़्यादा force उससे ज़्यादा apply हो रही है. So we did that analysis to figure that piece out. And then of course, then it was the second part was TNE, where we did different shore hardnesses and we tested it out with various kits. The second part was the wearing of the shoe. So currently we are only available in this. But if you look at our next product line, we are actually coming up with a Velcro system for 0 to 1 kids and a lacing system for kids between 6 to 12. Because 0 to 1 kids, it's very difficult to put on a shoe for a kid that small. So the parental control is necessary. And if you look at 6 to 12-year-old kids, they want a lot more control while doing focused activity sports. So these are few differentiators that we kind of have put in.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Mahajan sir, please ask your question.
Yes. Hello, Satyajeet. Good morning. I have a question here.
Hi.
See,
Right. Please.
the consumers and especially kids and their mothers, they would be bored if they are made to use the same shoe for more than a year or 2 or maybe 3. Probably 3 is the longest period that they will get bored to use the same shoe. How do you
Right, sir.
propose to tackle this?
So we have no product that lasts 3 years, sir. We don't make any such claim. We do it over 3 sizes. And we know that each size which is usable is 12 months to maximum 18 to 19 months. We don't promise 3 years
So
usage on our product.
So you mean to say that in that window of 18 months, whatever is the growth of the feet, that is taken care of.
Yeah. That is taken care of, correct. The oldest user that has used our product till date is been 19 months, not more than that, because you grow out of the size, even our sizing. You
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Satyajeet, I wish to share
Yes.
those videos of the kids.
You please.
So can you see? Can you see it? No.
Yes.
No.
It's coming.
Yeah. So these are actually twin brothers, and I have asked them to use this shoe.
So cute, sir.
This
Please
is the
give a
first,
commentary.
it's the first day of their school.
Wow. See, like this is very interesting because kids don't walk with how Nike has sold you how we walk. We walk with our toe first and then our heel. Kids walk with picking up their entire foot. Like they will pick up their entire foot and place it flat, and then move.
Anyway,
Yes. Happy to take any more questions.
yeah. So,
Satyajit, what is the price range?
So currently we are priced between 2,100 to 3,000 with a discount of or coupon code of 5 to 10% on that. So that is something that that has been our range at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just leave the website if anybody wants to
yeah.
have a look.
What is the range? Is up to 8, 9 size available?
No, not right now. We are there till somewhere around EU 34. And we are slowly expanding our size because, like I said, we believe in testing. So before we unlock every size, 4 mahina testing mein lagta hai. Before it's tested out with that audience group, and that's when we push it out. Because we just don't want to just grade it and then push out the whole thing. So like we are testing currently size UK 6, 7, 8, 9. And we are seeing that we won't play that 3 sizes journey when we go senior sizing.
Satyajit,
We will dial it down to 2 size. Yeah.
Yeah, Satyajit, I just had one point, just to extend to what Mehta has said. Yes, there is always a problem even in adult shoe sizes. Because mine is around 8.5. So I invariably either take a 9
Right.
and 8 becomes too tight.
Correct.
And then if you are a sportsman, it becomes even worse because what happens is that there is a lot of friction between the sole as well as the sole of your feet and the bottom of the shoe. Invariably, I take
Correct.
breathing shoes because I play squash as well as I do a lot of trekking.
Correct.
But then the same shoes don't apply for both the sports. Now,
Correct.
what I'm seeing as a problem in your design and engineering is that if you're having a flexible sole, you will
Yeah.
actually have to very, very carefully balance the stiffness quotient as well as the thickness of the sole to give
Right.
the right component of actually the shock absorption that is required for the sporting requirement or for the trekking
Absolutely.
requirement.
Absolutely.
So you'll actually have options for creating maybe a separate technology itself, which could
Absolutely.
be transferred as a component to some of the existing shoemakers, rather than you sitting down and reinventing the wheel trying to make all the shoes all together.
Absolutely.
So think
No,
about it.
you're
Think about
absolutely
it.
right. There is a company called Vibram, okay, which does exactly this model on and on.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
A Vibram would also sell to a Nike as a component, and it's very interesting. It's a 102-year-old company based out of Italy.
Italian. Okay. Okay.
They
Because the
are
Germans are normally
so.
smart at doing this reusable components.
I'll tell you some of my incidents with the Germans also while building this. When we were about to, and proudly so, we wanted to make a mold, and I did not want to go to China. And you're absolutely right. Germans have been known for shoe molds and shoe lasts for So the oldest company is Fargus Graycon. They're about 102 years old. We actually spoke with them when we wanted to make our molds, and they told us that you we will remold your CAD files and we will make a mold at 4,000 euros a pair. And we actually did our molds on our own, and we did it here. And I said, so be it, we'll do it here. And they actually flew down to India, and they asked us, did you make it in Taiwan or Vietnam? And we told them we made it here. Like, it was
Big clap.
unbelievable.
Big clap for you.
Unbelievable. And we were a 6-month-old company at that moment. So that has been the journey. So we realized, I think everything is possible if you are willing to go.
Yeah, that's true.
The
That's
great
true.
advantage Indians, and especially a guy from Meerut like you, will always have is jugaad. Remember that. Never leave that.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest
frugality is the
teachers
way
as
of
far as
life.
Indians is concerned.
Yeah, frugality is the way of life. I think. No, I think it's about finding there are more than enough money in India, and there are more than enough machines in India. It's just that we need to drive people to use and those capacities in better ways. We are truly made in India at every component level.
Fantastic.
So there is nothing being imported, not even an elastic being imported now. Like every component is made in India, even to a mold level. So we don't get anything from outside. And that was a conscious call that we took. I traveled to Germany. I spoke to guys in Portugal who've done molds for many years, but we thought it's possible here. India is the second largest producer of footwear in the world. So there is everything available here. So I think we can just go
So
deeper
wonderful.
with this.
So you can
Wonderful.
count me in, Mittal, as one of the people who will be the first buyer for your prototyped sports shoes, whether it is an indoor squash court shoe or an outdoor trekking shoe. So
Sure.
keep in touch.
Sure.
Wonderful. Keep
Sure.
up the good work, guys.
Thank you.
Satyajit, my question to you about the flat foot, issue of the flat foot.
So, does anybody is aware of how a flat foot? When do you realize you have a flat foot?
In the childhood, I think during some sport activity.
So, sir, I'd like to correct you slightly.
Okay.
Till 6 years, you are supposed to have a flat foot. Okay.
Yeah. When you have your bath, you can first pick out your flat foot.
So invariably, every kid will be flat foot. Okay. The arch is see what is an arch? We have to start understanding from ground zero, right? As your body is growing, let's say I call it stretching, right? You're growing upwards, right? Which means your center of gravity and your standing position is flat on the floor, correct? Now, to create a balance for the body, natural arch development happens based on your size and structure. Okay, like a pure structural engineer, if I was to speak, right? That is the true form, and you start seeing hints of arch development at 7, ideally in a good nutritious boy or girl, and you will see 60 to 80% of the arch developed by age 12. Okay, and 100% arch developed by age 18. That's the true. Now a lot of marketing gimmicks have brought this down to fear monger and talk about an arch and give us support to a child who's basically 5-6 years old, right? And start having arch in kids from then. It's a flat sole and it's a completely flat insole. Only in series 6 is we introduce a slight arch.
No, but in my case,
the kid is now starting to be 90. So in your videos, those guys are completely wearing, and this brings me to my next observation that I made when you showed the videos. If you see those videos, adults walk like this, right? Like you step and then you step ahead, right? If you look at the first 6 years of a kid, they all, not 6, but at least the first 3 kids walk like this, right? The arch, so flat foot is a challenge, I completely agree, but you have to time and understand your foot. Break it down. The first 10-year advice to kids is to be as much barefoot as possible, right? That's the best. Adding anything on, so our shoes actually embrace barefootness rather than providing those extra padding or cushioning. It's only when you're playing focused athletics, like Sanjay sir said, right, is when you need. See, when you had to wear a Nike shoe for a runner, they designed it for an athlete. Now an athlete has to run that 100-meter race in a few seconds, right? Like 20 seconds. And let's say the practice time is 2 hours. Now you're making the same product being on the whole day, whereas it's been designed for focused athletic. Now I'm sure Sanjay sir, like he gave an example of, playing squash. He doesn't wear his squash shoes all through the day, right? In terms of arch development, you really have to take an arch development challenge at when you're 18, and there are more than enough corrective ways to have your arch. The first way is to be barefoot. Okay, even and not wear narrow shoes. That's like bad arch and narrow shoes are like the deadliest combination for bad foot health. So as wide as possible and as perfectly fitted as possible. That's my only this thing. And for arch development, there are techniques like you take a ball and roll it under your foot, and you keep doing all of those things, and you practice a good footwear, foot hygiene. And the second thing is you visit a doctor called a podiatrist who takes clinical care of it, right? But in India, podiatry is very, very, very limited. There are very few doctors who are truly podiatrists in India. Where in the US they are like dentists. You file a podiatry. Parth, you want to join in and say anything?
Parth?
Hi, Parth here. Satyajit, I would just like to add one point which you mentioned, that arch is a load-bearing structure, right? And the moment you
Correct.
allow, as kids grow, they start feeling the load on their feet as they walk naturally and barefoot as much as possible. The arches will automatically develop, and vice versa. If you start putting kids in padded and foam shoes since the beginning, it will ultimately hamper their arch development. That is how it works. And we at Aretto have designed, keeping in mind the natural foot shape of kids, which is why we have a flat sole. We don't have an inclination or a thick padded heel or a raised toe like most shoes have. And we have a wide toe box. If you see it in top view, the shoe, the front part, which is the toe, is the widest of our shoe, whereas contrary to this, the most conventional shoes have a very narrow toe box for aesthetic purposes. But we are trying to defy conventional norms in terms of footwear to give priority to this natural foot shape and basically the health and development of the kids. So one question I would like to indirectly answer was, when someone asked that, will kids get bored of the shoes? uh, what happens is, indirectly, or I would say subconsciously, the kids start to relate to the utility part of the shoe more when they use Arettos. So we take a lot of feedback, and we have a lot of parents saying that color walar to sahi hai, but the kid likes the comfort of the shoe so much that he doesn't want to wear anything else. So that is an important point, that the shoe actually puts forth the utility part rather than the fashion part, which you said that kids might get bored with the color, but the comfort overrides the color, and they are willing to, they want to wear nothing else. That has been most of our feedback since 12 months. Thank you.
Satyajit, though it is 11 a.m. already, but I have got one question about the heel. Please tell me whether the heel itself is unscientific thing or what? High heel, I mean to say.
Which absolutely, sir. It's a vanity metric.
Okay.
there There is there is no doubt about that. So it's purely it's purely stemmed from
Western.
fashion. Just imagine your feet are in the most unnatural. So you have to just follow everything by nature driven versus non-nature driven.
Yeah.
Because our nature is a perfect designer,
Yeah.
right? So more things you do unnaturally eventually have a bad effect.
Yeah. So it's I wish to wind up it now. Okay. It was a
Yes.
very nice session, and in concluding with a good question and answers. And I hope that I shared the videos and that actually I advertise your brand in right way as a friend of Parth and you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Friends,
Thank you, sir.
I will stop recording now and I will conclude the meeting. Thank you all.